Yeah, welcome, guys and girls. Look, I really wish I was as clever as Chuck Swindoll Jr. when it comes to knowledge about the negative, general side of Christianity, and I wish I could elucidate it better. But this is my little try. I'm going to call this video "Addicted to Relief." As Chuck talks about in his book Elucidating Christianity, the Christian is somewhat, very much so, I should say, addicted to relief. The relief a Christian gets from praying and asking for forgiveness is so paramount in the general journey of Christianity, because it it's just lazy. I've got to be honest. It takes away the responsibility of the it takes away the responsibility of the consequences of their actions. Now there may well be consequences, but even if they suffer those consequences, I don't think they'll feel as deserving of receiving them if as if they weren't a Christian. If they're a Christian, if you're not a Christian, when you do bad things and it comes back to bite you, you really, or personally, I think you really understand why. Even though karma works in a domino effect and it doesn't happen instantly, you know when you've done wrong, and when bad shit happens to you, you can probably pin it down to something you've done to someone else. But I think when a Christian gets their upcomings, they don't look at it. I don't think they look at it like it's cause and effect or karma. I think they just put it down to evil or bad luck. Because I think the Christian looks at the world like it's an evil place, an evil fallen place, a doomed earth. Well, that's what they say in the Bible, isn't it? A man must have dominion over nature, and we're living on a fallen planet, and we're gonna go to heaven one day and leave this God-forsaken earth one day anyway. I think a Christian spends their whole life thinking about paradise, their so-called paradise in heaven when they die. And listen, I know there's a lot of good Christians out there, a lot of churches that help people, help the poor and that, but they don't really know the true psychology of their egregore that they're living, they're being controlled by. I mean, when you really look at Christianity psychologically, guys and gals, that starts falling to pieces. And look, if you're a Christian and you're scratching your head, I highly recommend checking out Charles, or Chuck, who's known as Chuck or Charles Reagan Swindoll Jr., the son of a famous Christian American radio pastor. Chuck's a 40-year Christian. He contracted cancer. He cured himself from it. He made lots of life changes and started changing his thinking. And he realised what got him sick. It was his lifestyle. It was his environment. And he refused chemotherapy and went down the eastern route and got into natural medicine and acupuncture, and he did it the hard, natural way, and he killed himself. So kudos for him. It changed his life. A very articulate, I think a maintenance engineer by trade, very clever man who doesn't do his videos like I sometimes probably seem to do them, in a way to spite or be bitter against Christianity. He does them in a way to psychologically let the convert, the Christian who might be struggling with his faith, or the Christian that might be doubting the reality of his beliefs, that it's not all it seems to be. It's a form of, well, it is spiritual racism, because you know Christians are very adamant when they say it's our way or the highway. you're going to burn in hell if you don't believe like we do and give yourself to God and all that stuff. You know what I'm talking about. And I think it's dangerous. It's a cult, and I just can't believe how many billions of people are caught up in its tentacles of deceit. Because I tell you what, this is a fact, guys. You can research this, you can look it up. The Catholic Church gave Christianity the Bible, okay? Yeah, I could do a whole 2-hour video on the Catholic Church and how sick and twisted they are. And, everything's been morphed and inverted and muddied. Because if we believe Jesus Christ as a anthropomorphic figure, I think I pronounced that wrong. He was a mystic. He was basically a practitioner of natural law. Check out natural law if you want to know what that is. And his message, he should be seen for his message, not for his physical. You know what I mean? He should be seen as for his principles, just like all the rest of them. Allah and Hermes Trismegistus and Buddha and all these John the Baptist, all these people that had revelations, mystical experiences. That's all they are. They're just like dreams. They're visions, and they're really significant to the person at the time they have them, and they really believe that they are the be all and end all, and that they come from some God. You know what I mean? That's how it all starts. I don't know if you know much about the Bible, but the Old Testament's full of murder and rape and wars, and the New Testament's condensed and repetitive and contradictory. And I tell you what, there's some great stuff in the Bible. There's some really great meaning and truth behind some of it, But you can't look at it as you can't take it literally. It's written in allegories and metaphors, and it's it's this world. I wish I could elucidate this better, guys. I really apologise. One day I will, maybe. But what I'm trying to say is, you can't look at it like. I mean, how can you take something that's been written by man, many men? How can you take that as being, no pun intended, gospel, when this world's just far too big, far too, yeah, it's just, there's just so much, too much, there's just so much to experience and learn. It can't just be all wrapped up in a book, I mean, like now, I've just been realising recently the way the world's going and all that, and we're coming into the Great Awakening. So many people are running back to Christianity, and it's because they're fearful. I think it's because they need a saviour. They don't think they can do it themselves, and they're running back to their security blanket of Christianity, where she'll be right, mate. We'll say another prayer. You're forgiven. You're going to go to heaven anyway. Who cares? You can commit a sin next week, and it doesn't matter what the sin is. As soon as after you commit it, as long as you believe with your heart that your repentism is genuine, good old Christ's gonna forgive you. I'm sorry, guys. The world doesn't work like that. There's no way it can, because God isn't a man, guys. God is a force. You can sort of see God. It's around everywhere. It's part of you. It's the trees blowing outside. It's the rain. It's the soil. It's the clouds and stars and the moon and the skies and the ocean. God's a force. It's a creative force which I think creates itself, creates everything, and it can't be put in a box, and it can't be put into a book, just like we can't be. We can be written about. You can write a book about me, but will that book you write about me really be able to define who I really am? No, it won't. It'll labelise me. It'll write stuff about what I do, but it won't tell the reader who I really am. You know what I mean? You can't. There's some things you can't put into words, and one of them is God. I believe. I mean, this is just all my opinion. You know, you don't have to believe a word I'm saying. Everyone's got their own free will, and that's what the creative force gave us, guys. Free will. But with free will comes, you know, your actions. There's consequences. Okay. You can't just do something bad and say a prayer and ask for forgiveness and expect not to be punished down the line for your transgressions, okay? The natural world works in balance. It's not fear. It's a horrible place sometimes. It's good and bad. It's dark and light. It's evil and happy, nice. You know, but it's not fear. But it is balanced. And it's forever evolving, ever growing. It's not dying, you know. And climate change is just a hoax, guys. You've got to, yeah, God, you've got to realise about what I mean about all these egregores and all this crap they've pumped into the world. You know, you get me going on a prison planet type video. So this is about psychologically looking at Christianity. So yeah, addiction to relief. I mean, I was a Christian for a wee while. I was baptised to Catholic. Got into a bit of Satanism. I thought it was Satanism. It was just rebellion from religion. Then I got into fundamental Christianity, but it never really felt real. It just didn't feel right, you know. But you have to keep an open mind. But yeah, when I used to do wrong things, I used to ask for forgiveness, and I feel relieved. No matter what I did wrong, I feel relieved. You know, God's got my back. It's okay. He forgives me. You know, who cares about who I just hurt? It's all about me. You know, it's a selfish, racist, arrogant, self-deceitful, fearful belief system. And again, it's a belief system, guys. Christianity, it's not a faith. It's nothing to do with faith. They throw the word faith and grace in, but grace should be replaced with curse, and faith should be replaced with belief, because that's all it is. You know, you can't go forward in the Great Awakening believing in a 2,000-year-old religion. I mean, the times have changed, guys. People have to move on from their little safety bubble and realise that this universe is too big. It's just way too big for little small-minded belief systems. But before I end the video, I'll give them credit. They did a really great job at capturing so many people. They nearly captured me. They've captured friends of mine. They've captured family members of mine, and it's caused division. There's some people out there I don't even talk to anymore because they don't want to talk to me because I'm not a Christian. You know what I mean? They're that stuck in their egregore that they think it's just their way or the fucking highway. And it's sad, really, but you know, I think more people are waking up, and that's good because you know there's just so much more out there to learn. You know, and no one really knows. No one really knows what's going on. You know what I mean? Really, when it comes to the creator, the creative force, when it comes to where we go when we die, no one really knows. There's so many theories and that, but no one really knows, guys. So this is not a hate on Christianity video. This is just a video just to look at Christianity psychologically and logically. Forget about the spirituals. Well, forget about the how can I put it? I just have to say it like it is. Just look at it psychologically. Look at all of it psychologically, and then come back and tell me what you think. And I really highly recommend reading Chuck Swindoll's audio book, Elucidating Christianity. It's a great read. And after reading that book, you feel free. You start to begin to know who you really are, and it's not a sinner living on a fallen planet, fearing a god, being a god-fearing sinner on a doomed earth, waiting to go to the afterlife. This is the paradise. This is the paradise on earth. But the evil sons of guns that, on an ending note, ironically created the religion I'm talking about, are trying to turn this paradise on earth into a prison planet. And there's the great tragedy. But we have to really not let that get to us, and just live morally and try and love and be compassionate, and enjoy the time on earth we have in this meat suit of a body. Because when we go to another place. And I don't think it's heaven. I think it's another dimension. But like I said before, no one really knows for sure. Hey, thanks for listening, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for listening. See you later.